When torture guy says what you're doing is unconstitutional, you've really gone too far. Who am I talking about? Well, John Yoo is the conservative lawyer who you might recall during the Bush administration defended waterboarding. John Yoo now says Donald Trump suspending habeas corpus would be grounds for impeachment. His exact words are that it would be stronger grounds than either of Donald Trump's first two impeachments. And John Yoo is the guy who spent years arguing that the president should have broad war powers. And even he is saying that Trump's new plan would blow through the Constitution like it's not even there. So what's going on? Well, we've been covering it. Trump's deputy, Stephen Miller, said the White House is actively considering the suspension of habeas corpus to deal with what they call an immigration emergency. That means you have to call these things what they are. That means jailing people indefinitely without a trial, without charges, without due process. You just lock them up and you sort it out later, maybe, if you get around to it. Stephen Miller tried to argue that it would be justified because we have an invasion of undocumented immigrants. That justifies Trump having emergency powers. The problem is that legal scholars on both sides say that's absolute nonsense. The Constitution only allows suspending habeas corpus during a real rebellion, during an actual invasion, not a political talking point, not chaos at the border, not whatever Fox News says is scary this week. And again, John Yoo is the Bush era lawyer who helped justify torture. And he says there is zero chance that suspending habeas corpus in this situation would hold up in court. He even warned that if Trump tries it, military officers might refuse to follow the order. I hope that they would. Now, here's the part that's even more disturbing. Congress does not seem to care. Only Rand Paul, so far, has said anything meaningful about it. Most Republicans just kind of shrug. Lisa Murkowski says she's got to look into it. Josh Hawley blamed judges. Rick Scott ran away from the question altogether. And that tells you just about everything you need to know about it. The only thing that will ever convince the Republicans to turn on Trump is if they think keeping him hurts their own seats. That is it. Principles don't matter. The Constitution doesn't matter. Democracy doesn't matter. Self-preservation is all that matters. And until they start treating Trump like a political liability, and not just behind closed doors, but in public, this is not going to change. This is what we've been saying for months now. And, maybe they will change eventually. Independents, we've already said, are starting to say this is too much. This is too much. We've heard from all sorts of different people, but people write to me, they go, my mom is complaining that what's going on? It's time for impeachment, and this just can't continue. When you start losing independents and even some Republican voters, that is when things really could start to shift. We aren't there yet, okay? But the John Yoo thing is definitely a sign. We're watching the lines of democracy get tested again and again, and sort of hoping that someone in power remembers the oath they swore. And that involves protecting and defending and upholding the Constitution. If torture guy becomes the most reasonable Republican in the room, we are in deep, deep trouble. And as I've said before, when John Yoo goes, oh, this would never hold up in court. And okay, and so what? If a court says something and the Trump administration ignores it, and there's no mechanism or political will to enforce it, what does it mean that a court would never go for it? And so on this issue, John Yoo is completely correct. The problem is we've seen the courts won't go for this answered with, we don't care. Turn the plane around, we don't care. You can't deport these folks, we don't care. And so far with zero consequence. So the follow-up that I wish John Yoo would deal with is, fine, imagine a court says it, and then Trump says we don't care. What happens next? And so far, I've not heard any answer to it. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. it's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what the echo machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get the Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out the Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.